Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of How Outsourcing Works. We're really focused on the whole small to medium business community, where we are here to dive into the next level, right? People know that the whole world of offshoring and outsourcing and virtual assistants, people have heard of all that. We're beyond the top of funnel. People are aware of it. The next question is like, how does this actually work? Like, what can these individuals actually do in my business? I'm in X industry, how are they going to help me? What can they do? What are they capable of? What about time zones? What about competency? What about integrating with my existing people? We like to answer those questions here with specific examples and case studies from those that we had a chance to work with, some that we haven't, but are familiar and knowledgeable in the space. And so I'm your host here, Brad Stevens, founder and CEO of Outsource Access. We've been in this industry. I've been offshore for 25 years, built a bunch of different companies, and got inspired by using offshore, growing my last business, and decided to launch Outsource Access 2019, and we grew to 500 people and 500 employees in about 4.5 years, servicing about 85 different industries, doing all functions: marketing, operations, customer service, sales. So we've seen everything imaginable that can be done with offshoring and outsourcing, and working primarily with small to medium businesses, not as an extended vendor, but like side by side, with them as kind of a growth, partner. So excited to have John Francis. Johnny Franchise, you'll learn how he got his nickname as well with me today. Thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So he's got a great story and great journey, and he's got some great examples of Missy he started to work with our team here at Outsource Access. And look, at the end of the day, right? Yes, we know this domain, and we're going to talk about folks that have used people with our company, and we'll bring on people otherwise, right? But overall, this is just a general education that we encourage any small to medium business to go down this path, right? Just like AI and everything else, this is where everything is going. And, using a blend of global workforce plus AI and tools is kind of where everything is moving, right? So whether, we'd love the opportunity to work with folks, but otherwise, there's a bunch of great companies like ours that are out there. Just encourage you to take that journey and that path. And hopefully this will give you some excitement about, may not be in the exact industry that John will be sharing here today, but you'll be hearing some things that he's navigating that may be, similar the ones that you're navigating and aren't too foreign in the process. So, but we'd like to kick off, as always, our episodes, giving you guys a quick win, an endorphin hit with a tool resource podcast that you can take. We're always, everybody's downloading the latest apps or tools or what have you. So I'll let John kick it off, and he's actually got one in all three categories. He's a super achiever. So asked him to share Tool Book podcast, the latest that he's been using. And if you haven't heard of it, dive in, and we'll put it in the show notes as well. So what you got to share?
All right. Well, the first one that came to mind is a tech tool that I love. I've been using Fathom, which is a note taker tool that follows me around to Zoom meetings and Google meetings and whatever else. And I've tried probably 3 or 4 of the other ones. And I just use the free version. I don't really need a lot of extra work. Customization.
Yeah.
But I find this one to be the best. It seems pretty accurate on the summaries and the transcriptions, and it allows you to share. It integrates with HubSpot, which I use for CRM, and it makes it easy for me to share and follow up with clients. So when I do my work, a lot of times, I'm taking notes, handwritten notes to stay focused. So for me, and then I share that with the client, but I also cut and paste the link or the summary that the machine creates, and it's pretty accurate. It's pretty helpful. So that I think it's Fathom.ai, and that's the one that I've been using a lot lately.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great note takers out there. And so if you've been deciding or trying to figure out, different ones, Fathom's an awesome one. We've used Read.ai, Fixer.ai, Loom. If any of you use Loom for screencasting, Loom has its own note-taking capability. So they're all starting to kind of merge in their capabilities in AI. But I encourage you definitely to use those. And then said you got an oldie and a goodie, but a goodie on the book side?
Well, I've got a book and I've got a podcast. So a podcast, there's a guy out there named David Newman. And he does a thing on marketing and sales. And he's funny and he's smart and he's prolific. He generates a lot of information. It's very relatable. For me, most of my work is like as a consultant or advisor or that sort of thing. And I just find his content to be great. I listen to most everything he puts out, and I find it very useful. Then for a book, I went backwards, and I thought of something I read a long time ago. It's called The Alchemist. And I think maybe a lot of people have read it. I think it came out in the late 80s, early 90s. The author is a guy named Paulo Coelho, and he was, I think, Brazilian. And it's really about kind of finding your path and trusting your dream or following your dream, and just being committed to who you are and seeing the world the way that you need to see it. So it's not very complicated, but it's a kind of a story. It tells a story of this guy on this adventure and all the different things he encounters on the way. And it just reminded me, it's a good one. I think I should tell my kids about it. You know, they're old enough now where I think they would appreciate it. So that's so the tool, the podcast, and the book.
Awesome. Well, thanks for hitting all 3 categories there. So if people get nothing else from our banter here in the next few minutes, you know, they've got some great resources. And on my end, I always like to kind of contribute as well. And so I'll share a couple. So when if anybody follows me on social, I do a quick, series called Learning on the Run. When I'm out, I love running and listen to podcasts, and I'll do a quick, few second kind of share from the takeaways. And the one I just did a whole series on John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's an oldie goodie. Can't recommend enough. I literally go, law by law. But a current one right now, and there's a zillion books on the whole AI world, but there's one called The AI-Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. Jeff, Geoff. That I think is just a phenomenal book that it's more strategic and big picture, right? It zooms back and looks at the opportunity of where AI is, and then from a leadership standpoint, how to think strategically. And he's got a whole PDF that goes along with it. He's got an AI chatbot on the website that kind of goes along with it. So, and it's AIleadership.com, I think is the actual domain. We'll put it in the show notes. But the AI-Driven Leader, you can get on Audible, but really impressed with how you kind of blend AI thinking and really how you revisit how problems are solved, right? Before whatever tool you're using, it's about how you solve the problem differently. Great podcast is called The Sales Evangelist. Donald Kelly, just great tactical 20 minutes on nothing but just fantastic sales strategy. Jonathan, you actually probably enjoyed that one as well, just called The Sales Evangelist. And a tech tool, you know what? I'm not going to share a specific tech tool. I'm going to share an alternative. So all of us have, the mobile app, and I'll know my family's been good on DoorDash, right? DoorDash to order food and so forth. Well, DoorDash, as we know, charges quite a chunk, right? Sometimes 15, 20% the restaurants have to add. Well, I encourage you, next time you go to order, and one thing my family loves, love ordering Jersey Mike's, which is the subs that we love enjoying, and Five Guys, right? And so recently went to and downloaded the actual app for the restaurant. So Jersey Mike's, right? And it'll be appropriate actually from a franchising standpoint, and then John will talk about. But Jersey Mike's, if you go download Jersey Mike's mobile app, right, you can actually order directly from their mobile app and have delivery to your home, same thing and so forth. They actually use DoorDash and a lot of those same providers, but it's 10, 15% cheaper. So encourage you, next time you're in your favorite restaurants, if your family does DoorDash, is, maybe try the actual restaurants app and download it. And you may find that it actually saves you a little bit of cash in the way. So anyway, those are a couple of quick tips. Hopefully everybody enjoyed to kick off our session here. So now we'll jump right in. And so John, just give everybody real quick your kind of quick elevator pitch background.
Sure.
Kind of led to where you are, and we'll be talking about two different kind of hats that John wears right now and initiatives that he's driving forward. So yeah, give us some background.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm born and raised here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I grew up in a franchisor company. My parents founded a hair salon franchise company. So franchising is something I grew up with, and understand it. And have been involved in it at kind of every level for decades. And I've been a franchisor 6 times. I've been a franchisee 5 times. I've been a supplier 3 times. And today I'm all 3 at the same time. So I get involved in lots of franchising. I love franchising. I love seeing people win and do it well. And when everybody does what they're supposed to do, the franchisor, the franchisee, and the suppliers, when everybody stays in their lane and has alignment and integrity, man, everybody wins. And so I love franchising. My nickname you mentioned is Johnny Franchise. So I'm the youngest of 5 kids. So I was Johnny growing up, Johnny Francis. And a good friend of mine, we met at a conference. We were talking. He says, "When I see you, I think Johnny Franchise." And so the nickname stuck at that moment and beyond. And someone has to give you a nickname to make it legit. So I love franchising, and I love helping people with the franchise business kind of wherever I can and however I can. And that's sort of my day job. My other business is completely separate, but it's funny. It kind of looks the same in a way. I invented a holiday called Father's Eve, which is the night before Father's Day. And I like to say Father's Day is for dads and families. Father's Eve is just for the dads. Think of it as a dad's night out. And it started as an accident in a garage I had built. We were throwing a garage party, and it turned out to be the night before Father's Day. So we called it Father's Eve as like a joke, but it caught on. And we kept doing it, and it kept growing and expanding. And so we trademarked it and we licensed it for free. So it in a lot of ways, it behaves like a franchise because that's what I'm most familiar with. But there is no economic model there. It doesn't cost anything. We're not selling anything. We're not buying anything. We're not solving anyone's problems. But Father's Eve is a way for guys to get together. We say we connect, share, and celebrate fatherhood. So the idea is guys need to be connected and help each other. And the more intentional a guy can be about being a better dad or a better husband or even just more influential in their community, it's fascinating the impact that just a few good ideas and a little more intentional thinking can really help people do it better and just have a lot more fun. So Father's Eve is something I created a few years ago. It's really one night a year. It's kind of a hyper seasonal business. But we have hosts. You see the website there. We have guys sign up and host events. I think we did 25 cities this year, and we had a bit more before COVID. We were on a real tear. We had some momentum, and so we're kind of getting back to that. But the idea is to bring guys together for good, have some fun, do some good, and try to help each other kind of without asking for help. It's all
Now,
about fatherhood. I love being a dad, man. It's the most important thing I'll ever do is raise some kids that do some good for themselves and for others around them.
certainly, man. And it's and yeah, I want to show the website up here. It's just such a unique concept. Love having such a niche topic and unique, concept.
Yeah, it's different. There's
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about fatherhood and just trying to be a better dad and trying to be more present and engaged and all the rest. And what I've learned is there's a lot of dads, a lot of groups, a lot of organizations, a lot of professionals in the fatherhood sort of movement, but they're very disconnected. And I think that's just the nature of guys. Maybe we kind of want to do our own thing and we're not natural collaborators, but I come from franchising, which is all about collaboration. I mean, you really have to work with a franchisor and a franchisee and the suppliers. So that collaboration kind of comes natural to me. So I bring that with me to the Father's Eve business, and I'm seeing that opportunity kind of to connect some of these groups and people and just share the opportunities with everybody. And I'm just having fun doing it. That's what makes it happen.
No, it's a great sense of community, and that's what connected he and I together. We actually met at the because at Outsource Access, we've started doing a lot more work in the whole franchising space, and I went to a lot of the conferences this past year. We started. Several years ago, we had some franchisee brands that came to us and we started working with, and I kept getting told, hey, you ought to go in this industry. There's a lot of opportunities. So we started working with some franchisors and a lot of multi-unit owners and started going to all the conferences. And I learned very quickly, it's very much a tight-knit community. And John, and being an EO, entrepreneurs organization, and YPO, I'm all about, business forums and, meeting and having masterminds monthly. And so I walked by and saw John, representing, holding, a concept of being able to have forums for franchisors. And so I connected immediately. I hadn't seen the concept, right? But I believe in it heavily. It's been a huge part of my life, which we'll touch on as well. And so we connected there and then followed up and stayed in touch. And then, and being a dad myself of a, 5-year-old son, 9-year-old daughter, and knee deep in coaching T-ball and softball and all the things. And on that point, we actually tried, we met early and we were trying to, for the Father's Day, I was inspired to host my own Father's Eve event. And so I got a couple of dads around and we were going to go to we got a local softball field behind a church here that's a little bit run down. And so we were going to go play softball and actually do some cleanup and pick up around it because there's kind of a spirit of giving back. Typically, you kind of connect to the event. And things got messed up a bit with the weather and some change of plans, and the facility ended up having another group that had to kind of come in, but we've got the momentum. We realize we're actually having Father's Eve events quite often. We just don't really realize them, right?
Yeah.
There's a way to have them we got my son, especially my son's K-Prep group, the dads are on a text string, and we get together quite a bit, just to stay connected and build community. And I mean, parenting's a journey, on its own, particularly now with all the AI and the crazy technology and so forth. We got to, stay connected in our journey ahead. So,
Right on.
So cool subject matter, both with that side and also on the franchisee. Obviously, you heard a tremendous amount of domain expertise there, but then really cool what he's doing in bringing together franchisors that are in their place of navigating growth and building and creating a mastermind experience. So we'll dive into kind of his experience. And as you guys know me, with Outsource Access and our journey, it's been a crazy fun path growing to our business and all these different industries, and just education and giving back has been a big part of our growth. And so I love speaking on it, love educating, and I just like bringing small to medium businesses to understand this whole world and how does it actually work. And so to that point, in this episode, to kind of ask John to share, he kind of started working with a virtual system with us, Missy, and helping a couple of dimensions initially. Really, as we talk about with people, it's helping things that they want to get off their plate and how we can help them get that off their plate with our staff. And we say virtual assistant, but they're really kind of extended, full resources that are able to do a variety of different things, for someone. But that second bucket is stuff that you're not getting to, things you've been wanting to do but haven't been able to. And the Father's Eve website and initiative is something that's been a part of that equation. So excited for John to kind of share some specific examples of how is she actually, like, what were his problems, some challenges, maybe some of the concerns he had kind of going down the world of using VAs and staff in the Philippines and so forth. And then how she specifically has plugged in. And even though it may not be your exact business like what John's in, but you can probably maybe have some similar challenges and maybe answer some of your questions along the way. So love for you to dive into some of those examples.
Yeah, happy to share about it. So with the Father's Eve business, my big challenge was, execution, right? Ideas are fun and easy and free, right? It's easy to come up with a lot of ideas, but getting anything accomplished, right? I was busy with everything, my day job, so to speak, with my clients and boards and the mastermind groups. And then the Father's Eve thing was nights and weekends. And I really didn't want to just sacrifice everything, right? I mean, I'm not afraid of the hard work, but look at me. I've been doing this a long time. So I was looking for a way to work a little smarter and not so much harder. So the idea of a virtual assistant who could help me do the Father's Eve work. So really what Missy came on board, and I kind of gave her everything I had done and took her on a quick tour of the tools. And it was a lot of spreadsheets and Google Drives and, simple, easy stuff. And I said, I really need someone who can handle the responsiveness to these inquiries and the outreach. So every year we recruit new hosts. We call them event hosts.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for years. So I got lists and lists of guys that have done this in the past. But to reach out to these guys, and these are guys, right? And they're volunteers, right? So they're not always the most responsive. Everyone's busy and they got their own things going on. So I gave her, armed her with the materials and the information, and then signed her up to use my email system and my CRM, HubSpot, and said, go out there and get these guys. And here are the messages. Here's a sequence of, here's the content. Here's the strategy. Go get them. And then as they respond, as they show up and say, yeah, okay, great, I'm back, then I need to talk to them, because I want to make sure they still understand the core and the values and what we're doing, and make sure they're not going to do something stupid or inappropriate, right? So there's just a minute of qualification there. But then once they get a green light, then it's gathering the data and organizing their event details and posting it on our website, because I'm trying to drive traffic and build our audience, but then also using social media, specifically Facebook, because of the demographic that we're dealing with, but then putting it out on other socials and that sort of thing. So that's a big chunk of work. I mean, it takes a lot of time, and I just didn't have the capacity to execute that consistently. And this has been a chore, I'll call it, for years. Every year, it's like we start over, and I start earlier, but it doesn't seem to matter, because these guys, like I said, they're all busy. They're all volunteers. They think about it the week before, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And so she was great. She was able to save me the time and the money and really the structure of getting it done consistently. and in a timely way. So
And what's the tech she was using? I was kind of curious, the technology piece, right? Because that's a lot of, there's a lot of great technology and resources, CRMs and what have you. And so, part of what we've done for a lot of clients, it's crazy. We've learned about 150 different software platforms, over the years. And speaking of Father's Eve,
hey buddy, yeah.
got a surprise guest here.
We use HubSpot, and because I can keep track of stuff there and build my list and the emails, and we do a newsletter. We do that. We keep it all in there, and then I guess the rest of it really was just a website, which is WordPress, which I struggle with sometimes. But we have she and another guy that kind of get in there and make that thing work. And then the social media stuff, I can use social media, but I am not a creative type. The graphics and the content. So she was very skilled at doing that. She did a great job of outreach and engagement on different social platforms. And she was able to log in as me, and I told her kind of the voice and tone, and she very quickly picked it up and was able to really engage and reach using the social medias. So
that's a great share. I'll drill on that quickly as far as her being able to, and because that's one of the doubt, fear, concern people have is the communication, right? And a lot of people don't realize, and that's the reason why I kind of connected to the Philippines myself, where I have my very first staff, is because it's Americanized culture. English is their second language. There's not much of a culture gap for her to get and understand, right? And in terms of voice and communication, because a lot of what I have my staff and VAs do. I mean, I think I have 2 or 3 that live in my LinkedIn account to be able to kind of know voice and know communication. So the quickness that she was able to, because that's a hang up a lot of people have, is like, well, they're not going to, kind of get it, and I'm going to train a lot and so forth. So that's cool to hear. She picked it up quick.
I would get the reaction. So she was working with me. It started out, the time of day, right? I said, well, it's full time. And so she was with me during the full day, my time. And then I said, this is crazy. You're up all night over there. I mean, I said, why don't you move it, earlier? Because I don't really care. The work is flexible. It's not like I need you at a specific date and time. Sure. So she moved her work day earlier. So she works I'm in Central Time. So she works 4 a.m. to noon, my time. So she does everything in the morning, and it's fantastic. She doesn't need much. I give her some direction and she gets after it. It's wonderful. So what I was seeing is in the afternoon, I'm online and I see stuff pop in the afternoon and the evening. People are responding to her comments that she made as if it were me in the morning. And I'm like, oh, look at that, and so I would go and see the reaction to the comments that I had made, but she did it in the morning. It was fascinating. So I'm like, yeah, get out there and engage. And sure enough, in the evening, the afternoon and evening, I'd be getting the responses back. And then she would see them, of course, in the morning. If I was on, I'd say something like, yeah, that's great. I love it. Whatever the engagement response might be. But she was really good at that. I was very pleased with her ability to pick up my voice and engage. And it was right on. It was great. Very valuable. She's still doing that, by the way. And I don't have the time to do what I'd like to. The time it takes to stay engaged, I don't have that kind of time.
I appreciate it. That's a perfect example. And it's, you never know what's going to happen in life, right? Especially when little guy woke up early from his nap. But, I like having co-hosts on our podcast at some time, right? But hey, it's very proper pro, right? When as fathers, you never know what the journey is. But it's, big concern people have typically is the time zones, right? Is, what about, can they work my local hours? And look, there's a lot of Filipinos that they prefer working local hours and evening hours, right? Because it kind of works with their schedule, or, they may have family members they're taking care of. And so they actually are fine working evening hours. It actually kind of works well for them. But for others, like when we, engage clients, we kind of figure out like, hey, is this work that can be done kind of anytime hybrid, or does it have to be done at, and just like you've discovered, right? And sometimes it can be a benefit, right? Because like they're able to kind of, you wake up in the morning and things are done. They've responded to stuff. So it allows you to.
Just today, I have her doing some graphic design and these PDFs I'm trying to generate for my franchising work in the masterminds, and where I'm sponsoring an event this fall. So I need to generate some material for that. So I gave it all to her and I said, put this together. And she did a draft. Like quick. and I gave her some feedback. I said, move this here, add this, whatever. And then I wake up and it's all done. It's already there. And then I still have hours where she's available. Like if I need to
Yeah.
Zoom with her, or if I just say, hey, can you do this quick? And so it works out great. And I'm finding it really is, it's not only am I getting the things done that I can't do or don't have the capacity or skills, but now she's freeing me up so I can do the more valuable work that I know I wanted to get to. So it's sort of that stepping stone. And I think as she gets further along with me, even we get further in, I can see this being more and adding additional people to the team. I can see that point of leverage is what I would call it.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, because I mean, that's, ultimately what this creates. It's ideally, we all want to wake up and our feet hit the ground and be in our zone of genius, right? I mean, that's where we're adding the most value to, our business, our organization, the world in general. And it's where we're the happiest. And, that's typically where the intersection doesn't happen a lot of times for business owners and entrepreneurs. You're wearing a zillion different hats, and only, maybe a fraction of them are what you really love doing or is really the highest and best use of your time. And, by doing so, it not only creates more productivity and growth and performance, but, you end up being just a happier individual because you can do the stuff that truly is, your zone of genius, and you kind of work together. So it's kind of a 1 + 1 = 4 relative to what it was, prior.
Yep.
And so and I love hearing the dimension of things, right? And that's the other thing I tell people about, particularly in the Philippines, is just how quickly and rapidly staff, they learn, right? As I was sharing earlier, I mean, there's about 150 different software platforms. I mean, we're in 85 different industries. I mean, we got a staff in that's in the personal injury law firm space, and she learned the software faster and quicker than our client in the U.S. had ever seen before, to the fact that she actually trains his U.S. employees on it now because of how quick and fast, right? Yeah. And so, just so whether it's graphic design or whether it's editing or, HubSpot, from a CRM standpoint, but just the quickness that they learn and can absorb. And and in terms of communication, I know, as far as Loom, right, being able to do screencast recordings. I don't know if you started doing those yet. That's one of the things we kind of share as a great tool.
Yeah, we've done that, and I'll do it for her, and she'll do it back for me. And it's very impressive how quick she's picked things up. And then she's starting to anticipate, what my reaction is going to be. So she'll say, I saw this, and this is what I figured you'd want to say. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Go ahead. So her confidence and capacity is improving all the time. And it's only been, I think it's been 2 months. And so, I'm excited about it, and great value.
Well, it's a testament to you as well. I mean, and we're picky about, who we work with. I mean, get a pretty strong demand for what we do. And people got to realize, like, it is a, two-way street, right? We're going to bring people to the table, and we put them through an aggressive and, assessment evaluation. But we hire these people as full-time employees in the Philippines to be a part of our corporate entity, that we're hiring, so we're making a big commitment. And so we want clients that are, willing to work with and collaborate. And, at the end of the day, there's some crazy entrepreneurs that think, oh, they ought to just be able to, read my brain and know exactly what I want. And they get frustrated. And it's like, no, you're part of the problem sometimes, right? When you see a path, a lot of times of business owners, I can never find anybody that's going to help me or do what I need. And it's just, they won't slow down long enough, right? You got to be willing to slow down long enough and collaborate.
The attitude, right? Which we know is limited. You got to have the abundance attitude, and you get the right people in the right spots, and it's just a point of leverage and multiplier. So it's, I'm glad. And like I said, I was using some VAs before, in different things, but never to this capacity. So it's been a real treat.
Well, that's part of the challenge a lot of people navigate, is they just, they're, to the point of this, the series, title is, what can I have them do? How does it work? And, as you saw with you, is kind of unpacking things that you want to get off your plate, things that you're not getting to. And so it's great that she's been able to help, breathe some more life into the Father's Eve and all the things you talked about in terms of coordinating and getting, the contacts and getting more events, coordinated, and the website and CRM. Yep. And then now, as far as, shifting over to the franchisor side of things, of what you're kind of navigating, how she's been helping with that piece of it.
Yeah, it's coming together. She now that the Father's Eve thing sort of comes and goes, right? It's now we're into the sort of maintenance mode of, content and blogs and newsletters, and that, that's, we're not really recruiting guests or hosts. I mean, we will start probably next year, but so now she's got some capacity. So I'm bringing her over to the franchise work, where she's helping with organizing and setting up these masterminds and following up on the different leads and candidates, I'll call them, that I have, and then the different events where I'm speaking or presenting. And she's handling all of that kind of administrative, logistical, back office stuff. And it's just me, right? I mean, I'm not a high maintenance kind of guy, but the more she gets done, the more opportunity I can spend on higher value activity or just free time, which is very important.
Exactly. Getting out of the lake house and
that's right.
Enjoying
yeah. And know that she's got it, and if
Yeah.
I got an idea, I put it in an email and send it, and I know she'll pick it up, man. She doesn't miss a thing.
And the more she works, and I like to use the word confidence, right? Because that's what it is. It's building confidence both on your end and on her end. That you're building confidence in what she's capable of, and you see that. And that's what I tell people. Like, I can tell you how great all this stuff is, but it's not until you start working with somebody, and if you follow the process and protocol, you'll start seeing how they can absorb. And then you start building that confidence to kind of strip off more and more things that you can kind of have them help with. And so, so the great work you're doing, just to shout out for having gotten and working with a lot of people in the franchisor and franchisee space, and just seeing, especially emerging brands that are kind of figuring out their path and how to get locations launched and the systems and processes and make it a repeatable business. And as we know, there's some businesses some franchises that do a good job of making that repeatable process successful, and some that don't. But creating an environment where you can bring these franchisors together to kind of navigate their challenges. And so her helping you kind of find the right kind of candidates, helping you actually do some LinkedIn lives and some events like we're talking about here to kind of get the word out. And the wealth of knowledge and experience you have, it's like, how can you get it out there at scale, so you can attract the right kind of franchisors that can be a good fit, for your mastermind organization.
That's right. Yeah. It's just, I'm sure we'll be doing those soon, right? It's just a matter of focus and really just capacity. It continues to improve.
Yeah, hopefully it's that flywheel effect. The old Jim Collins, you kind of keep turning the wheel a little bit each time, and it keeps translating and turning into more opportunity. So, I mean, I'm excited to see the journey ahead, and I look forward. I'll take screenshots of these and send it over in our big chat board in the Philippines that they can share. I'll do a shout out to Missy and the feedback. They love hearing the feedback, and probably gives me more energy than anything I do. Probably 7 or 8 hours a month I spend just writing personal direct messages to some of our staff based on feedback that I hear. And, any human being likes to know that they're recognized and appreciated, and it's part of our culture. And so encourage her to continue to build and grow her skill set and to support you. And I know Emily, who's kind of the account manager and trying to come up with some strategic ideas. And that's part of what we try to do as well, is give ideas to support from a strategic standpoint, what the VA is doing, continue to give ideas.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know there's more that's coming, and I'm just going to grow into it. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate it. And thanks for those insights. And hopefully all the guests that are listening here, have been able to kind of get some detail, may not be your exact industry, but exactly some things that John's been talking about, whether it's falling in that bucket of things that you're wanting off your plate that aren't the best use of your time so you can focus on your zone of genius, or the things you're not getting to, right? Do you have a project or an initiative or a part of your business that just isn't getting done, right, due to time, money, or knowledge constraints? And this whole world provides an affordable way to be a release valve to actually get those things executed that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. So, well, we appreciate it. And so if anybody wants to learn more about you and sort of your journey, so you can obviously go to fatherseve.com and learn about that whole deal. If you know a father, you are a father, go sign up and host a future event and sign up for the newsletter. It's such a great initiative. And on the mastermind side, I know you're kind of relaunching a few things there. Is there a specific contact point for you?
My brand is johnnyfranchise.com, and I'm not hard to find. I'm out there, doing my thing. And so Father's Eve for the dads and everything related there, and then Johnny Franchise for really anything franchise. If I can help, I'll try, and if not, I'll point you in the right direction.
Here's johnnyfranchise.com, so you can go check him out and go explore services there. But John's been a great guy, just couldn't ask for more humility, and knows how to support and help advise people kind of in their guidance ahead. And so I'll and on our end here, for anybody that's kind of looking around the whole path of outsourcing and offshoring, and if you'll just send an email to tools, tools@outsourceaccess.com, and put Johnny Franchise in the subject line, we'll know where it kind of came from. We'll send you a whole set of tools and resources that you can use. We'll send you a link to our 2-question exercise process that we have that really kind of can help you figure out your journey ahead. Actually pull it on the screen here, but it's basically quick little template that we'll email to you. There's a video explanation. We'll give you a list of over 700 tasks, top tasks that we found. We've done 5 million hours worth of work here at Outsource Access in the last 6 years. So we'll send you a tool here that'll list all the different tasks that are out there, and across operations and marketing, customer service, and then encourage you to kind of go down the journey of asking yourself those 2 key questions, right? And you'll really be crazy to see how much it adds up to. And if you got a team or an organization, you can send those 2 questions to them as well. And it's amazing what people will share. What are the things that they want off their plate, and what are the things that they're not getting to. And so be happy to share that your way, and that list of 700 tasks, maybe get your kind of brain thinking on different places that you could really engage these resources, kind of moving forward. So send an email to tools@outsourceaccess.com and put Johnny Franchise in the subject line, or just visit outsourceaccess.com. Got tons of videos and content. You can book a free discovery call, see if we can help you out there. So thanks so much for the opportunity to support you, and look forward to your journey ahead, and got a lot of things to do. And I look forward to seeing your LinkedIn lives and events that'll be coming up that I know we can get Melissa helping you out, or Missy helping you out with here shortly.
Yeah, we'll get it dialed in, Brad. Thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.